I definitely went through depression again. There was times I didn't want to get out of bed. It affected my eating, my sleeping, and it caused me to lose a lot of weight that I'm now trying to put back on. And I'm just trying to get back into my fitness journey. My name is Thamara Julien, and I'm known as Miss Fit by T. So I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada, but my parents are from the Caribbean. My dad's from Trinidad and my mom's from Barbados. I was always into sports, and my favorite was track and field. So I did that all through elementary school and all through high school. I even was in a club outside of school. At one point, I wanted to get a scholarship to go to the States, but it just didn't work out that way. My favorite event was 100 meters, but I also did 200, 4x100 relay, long jump, high jump. I kind of did everything that was short distance. As a child, I was very quiet and shy. I think I'm still that way now, but I was also a tomboy, so I was always playing with the guys outside, football, soccer, playing video games, all that stuff. After high school, I went to Seneca College. I was just doing a general arts program because I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I stayed there for a semester and then I dropped out. I started working odd jobs like at the mall, just a bunch of dumb shit. But I never lasted. Some of them I would stay for 3 months, some of them 6 months. I never, like up until training, I never had a job for more than a year. Like I was always switching jobs because I hated working for people. Like I hate people telling me when I can go on break, when I can go have lunch, when I'm off, what days I'm working. I hated it. So I would always switch it up. And then after Seneca, I went to George Brown. I was doing dental hygiene for a year. And then the second year is when you start going in people's mouths. Like first you're working on a dummy, which was cool. But then when we started working in actual people's mouths, I was like, no, it's not for me. So I left that. I got a job at a law firm. I started with filing paperwork and I moved my way up to assisting 2 of the lawyers. I definitely loved that job. That was the first job I actually stayed for more than a year. And it was at that time when I went to Cuba and I got sick. And when I came back from Cuba, I started working out and then, yeah, here I am. I left the job at the law firm to pursue my career. I started my fitness business in 2015, and it really started because I got sick on a vacation in Cuba in 2012. So I got sick by the food. I don't know if you've ever been there before, but the food is terrible. The meat was not properly cooked and I ate it and it was over from there. Like I had pesticides, I had just a bunch of shit in my stomach for like a year. And when I would go to the doctor, they would never know what was wrong with me. They did tests, they did put tubes up my bum, down my throat, like everything. They wouldn't see anything wrong, but I knew within myself that something wasn't right because I was losing weight. Every time I would eat something, it would come up. Like it was hard to deal with, and I went through depression for the first time because of that. That brought me to my fitness because a friend of mine suggested that I go to the gym to start working out. Maybe it will help with something. So I went, and at first I didn't know what I was doing. I went by myself, but after a few weeks I got the hang of it and I started to see progress within my body, and that was it for me. Like after a month I fell in love. Like I was addicted and here I am. It became my addiction. I was no longer depressed because I felt like I had a purpose now. And at the time I was working at a law firm. Within, I would say 6 months of working at the law firm and working out, I left to pursue my dream of becoming a personal trainer. And I started at Good Life Fitness, an all-women's gym. It was great at first, but I noticed that with commercial gyms, they kind of just care about the money, not really about the clients. So I felt like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right and I'm gonna do it on my own. So I started my business and I've been doing it ever since. And there's been times where it's been hard, of course. It's not always steady clientele for me, so I had to pick up a job, and I did overnight jobs at Home Depot and just other things to get me by. And I've been doing it for 6 years now. I can't picture myself doing anything else but this, and yeah. So Infinity Fit means limitless fitness, so forever fit. And what inspired me to start it was, like I said, when I was working at the gym, Good Life, noticing that big corporate gyms don't really care about the clients, they just care about the money. And if I wanted to do this, I wanted to do it right and on my own, so I started my own business. My Instagram started blowing up, I guess, at the beginning of my fitness career, because at first I was just posting like random selfies, but then when I started going to the gym, that's what I was posting all about. That's the only thing I was posting about. And I guess people started to notice me, and they started to get motivated and inspired by me. And I wasn't doing it at first for the likes or for the follows. I was just doing it for myself, and it blew up from there organically. So I graduated high school in 2008, and that summer, the boyfriend that I had for the entire high school career, he ended up being murdered by his friend. He was a drug dealer, and so that was very hard for me to deal with. That was the first time I kind of lost somebody, and I didn't know how to handle it. There was days where I stayed in bed all day. My eating was off. I wasn't eating at all. I wasn't sleeping, and it was just hard. We were together for 4 years, so basically all of high school. I met him through a friend, and yeah, I mean, it was good times, it was bad times. He was gone a lot, but it was a good relationship. But at the funeral, and I can laugh about it now because I mean, it's been like 10 years. I'm over the situation, but you know, I still carry him in my heart. But at the funeral, there was 3-4 other girls that were there saying that they were his girlfriend. So it's like he's dead, and I can't even confront him to say like, you have other girls. Yeah, it was definitely an experience, and that made me not be able to trust guys. It was painful, and it made me not want to be close with anybody, not just relationship-wise, but friends too, because I didn't want to ever feel the feeling of being left. So I felt like if I just stayed to myself, I won't have to deal with that. So I excluded myself. I already didn't really have a lot of friends at the time, so I kind of just exclude myself. I definitely feel like working out is more therapeutic for me than most people. Most people go to the gym just for like a 2-3 months and then they're done. For me, it's a lifestyle, and I do it because it takes me away from reality, the pain that's happening in real life. So when I'm doing curls, I'm doing it to feel the pain and not just to do 5 and I'm done. So for me, it's definitely therapeutic. Working out just cleared my mind. It made me happy because I was very depressed. So it made me happy again, and it made me feel like I was working towards something, which was getting my body back to how it was before. My favorite book is The Secrets. And that book has changed my life. It was a gift from my mom, and at the time, like, when I got that book, I was reading it every day, cover to cover, and it changed my life because it just teaches you how to use your mind and how to be positive and how to get what you want out of life. One of my favorite quotes from that book is, "Thoughts become things." So whatever you think, it's gonna happen. Whether it's negative or positive, it's gonna happen. Right now, I'm single. I'm just focused on my brand and my business. The worst thing I've been through in a relationship was having a miscarriage, which happened last year. I was 6 weeks pregnant, and I lost the baby at 8 weeks. At the time, I was going through a lot within my relationship. It was stressful. Yeah, it was just a lot going on, and that's what caused me to lose the baby. The advice I would give to somebody who's going through or who has had a miscarriage is to just talk about it, talk to people around you about it, and be positive. obviously it wasn't your timing. Everything definitely happens for a reason, and you just got to keep going. It was definitely detrimental to my mental health. I went through depression again for the third time in my life. But this time was the worst, obviously, because I lost my child. How did I overcome it? I just did what I always do, went back to the gym and got back to me. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I ended up losing a lot of weight. So that's where I'm at right now, just trying to get that back. For anybody who's going through mental health, have positive people around you, people that you care about, who love you. Don't keep your emotions bottled up. You have to talk about it. And for people who have family members or friends who are going through mental illnesses, check on them, because just because they look like they're okay and they're posting pictures, or you see them and they're laughing and they're happy, it doesn't mean that they're okay. You gotta ask them, you gotta talk to people to find out what's going on and if they're okay. So in order for me to bounce back from that, like I said, I started going to the gym, and after a month, I didn't know, I still didn't know what I was doing, but after a month, I kind of learned what worked for my body. And it was at that point where it became an addiction to me. And I left the job at the law firm, pursued my career as a trainer at Good Life Fitness. And within, I think, 6 months of working at Good Life, I left to start my own business, because I wanted to do, like I said earlier, I don't like working for people. I don't like people telling me what to do. So I started my own business, and what really made my following grow was me posting pictures and videos on Instagram. I wasn't doing it for any other reason but for myself. And it just grew. I guess I motivated and inspired a lot of people, because as I said earlier, I feel like I go harder than most people. I'm ab queen, of course. Like, there's nobody has abs like me, first and foremost. I wish I could show you right now, but anyways, nobody goes hard like me. And yeah, that's just what brought me. That's what makes me stand out from most people. I go hard. I'm 5'2", I'm small, but I can lift heavy weight, and most people can't do that. So my true passion is fitness, and being able to help other people through fitness. So, and not just their body, their mind, their spirit, everything about them. I feel like everything that I've been through in my life has taught me to be a positive person and to be resilient, and I want to share that with other people. So I think that's what sets me apart from most trainers and most fitness influencers. I get that fire from knowing what I've been through in my past and never wanting to go through that again. Yeah, it's what makes me go hard. It's therapeutic, like I said earlier. Yeah. So Infinity Fit means limitless fitness, so forever fit. And what inspired me to start it was, like I said, when I was working at the gym, Good Life, noticing that big corporate gyms don't really care about the clients, they just care about the money. And if I wanted to do this, I wanted to do it right and on my own, so I started my own business. I have a lot of fitness goals and business goals that I want to conquer. The most recent one that I'm working on now is from skinny to fit. And I'm going to show you guys basically how I get myself back from being skinny, which is where I am now, to slim thick, which is where I was before. So I'm going to create a program, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it.